Ladies, let me tell y'all something right now. There's a difference between a grown woman and a mature woman. A grown woman got the years, but a mature woman, she got the wisdom. And let me tell you, when a mature woman walks in the room with the right habits, she ain't just attractive, she's irresistible. A mature woman who knows her worth moves differently. She walks into a room without having to announce herself. She doesn't need validation, approval, or applause from anybody. Her energy speaks before she even opens her mouth. She understands that her value isn't defined by someone else's inability to see it. She doesn't second guess her place in this world because she already earned it through experience, growth, and self-discovery. That's what makes her presence feel so solid. You can feel that confidence. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, it's just grounded. See, when a woman truly knows her worth, she no longer tolerates nonsense. She doesn't chase after people who are running away. She's not out here auditioning for love, approval, or attention. She's not bending over backwards just to be enough for someone who doesn't even know what they want. She's already enough for herself. And that's the game changer. She's not walking around asking, am I good enough for him? No, she's asking, is he good enough for me? That shift in mindset changes everything. You can't play with a woman who knows her worth. You can't manipulate her with cheap compliments or empty promises. She's seen it all. She's lived through the heartbreaks, the lessons, the betrayals, and the comebacks. She's not bitter. She's just wiser now. You might come to her with the same old lines that worked on someone else, but she'll see right through them. She's not falling for charm without character. She's not impressed by money without morals. If your energy's off, she'll feel it in the first 5 minutes. She don't need to investigate. Her intuition is her lie detector. She's also done competing with other women. A mature woman who knows her worth doesn't compare herself to others. She's not watching other women and thinking, I wish I had what she has. She's out here building what's meant for her. She celebrates other women without it threatening her own shine. She knows another woman's beauty doesn't take away from hers. She's secure in who she is, and that kind of self-assurance is magnetic. And let me tell you something else. This kind of woman don't waste her time. Time is her currency, and she spends it wisely. She knows what drains her and what feeds her. She's not going to stay in situations that rob her of peace, love, or purpose. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or a friendship, if it doesn't align with her value system, she's walking away, not out of anger, but out of awareness. She knows she deserves better, and she's not afraid to wait for it or create it on her own. She's not desperate for attention because she gives herself attention. She invests in herself, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. She reads, she learns, she prays, she heals. She pours into herself so she's not out here running on empty. And that's self-love. It shows. It shows in how she talks, how she carries herself, how she chooses her relationships. People notice it, even if they can't explain it. That glow ain't just skin deep. It's coming from the inside out. A woman who knows her worth sets boundaries and enforces them. She's not scared to say no. She's not trying to be liked by everyone. She's not shrinking herself to make other people comfortable. She's done people pleasing. She's in her season of peace and purpose. And if someone can't respect her boundaries, they can't have access to her life. Simple as that. She doesn't feel guilty for putting herself first because she understands that protecting her peace is loving herself. She's also not afraid to be alone. That's one of the most powerful traits of a woman who knows her worth. She's not in a relationship just to avoid being single. She's not keeping people around out of fear. She's choosing quality over company. She understands that loneliness and solitude are two different things. One drains you, the other grows you. And she'd rather grow alone than shrink with somebody else. And here's the thing. She doesn't make excuses for people who don't value her. She doesn't justify mistreatment, delay her healing, or settle for half love. If you can't meet her where she's at, she'll wish you well and keep it moving. Her love is not up for discount. It's not for sale to the highest bidder. It's reserved for someone who recognizes what they're looking at and comes correct. A mature woman who speaks with purpose understands the power of her words. She doesn't talk just to fill silence or to be heard. She talks to make impact. When she speaks, people listen, not because she's loud or aggressive, but because she carries wisdom in her voice. Her words are intentional. They're measured. She knows when to speak up and when to hold her tongue. She's mastered the art of timing. You won't catch her in every argument, every debate, or every bit of gossip. That's not her lane. She chooses her words like she chooses her battles, carefully. She's not trying to impress anybody with big vocabulary or slick lines. She's more concerned with being real than being right. Her voice carries confidence, not because she knows everything, but because she's speaking from a place of life experience. She's been through enough to know that words can build or break, lift or crush. And she's not wasting her breath tearing people down. She's not trying to be the loudest person in the room. She's trying to be the clearest. And clarity, when you've got purpose behind it, cuts through all the noise. A mature woman doesn't gossip. She's not interested in spreading rumors or talking about other people behind their backs. That energy is beneath her. She knows that what you say about others says more about you than it does about them. So she guards her conversations like she guards her peace. If the discussion doesn't elevate, inspire, or heal, it's not for her. She'll switch topics or excuse herself altogether. She'd rather be quiet than contribute to negativity. That discipline isn't weakness. It's emotional intelligence. When she gives advice, it comes from a place of compassion, not control. She's not trying to run your life. But if you come to her with a problem, she's going to give you something solid. She's going to keep it real. She's going to tell you the truth, even if it stings, because sugarcoating never saved anybody. But the way she says it, it won't make you feel small. It'll make you feel seen. That's the difference. She can correct you without crushing you. That's wisdom wrapped in kindness. You won't hear her speaking out of insecurity. She's not going to trash someone just to make herself feel better. She's not using words to manipulate, shame, or belittle. She doesn't need to prove her power. She is power. And when she communicates, it reflects her character. She's speaking from a healed place, a focused place, a place that isn't swayed by emotions or pressure. You'll rarely catch her snapping out of impulse because she's practiced self-control. She takes a breath. She thinks before she speaks. She pauses if she needs to. That pause, that's growth. She's also a woman who listens, really listens. She's not just waiting for her turn to talk. She's present. She gives you her full attention because she values connection more than dominance. She's not trying to outshine you in a conversation. She wants to understand you. And because she listens so well, when she finally responds, what she says hits different. She's not throwing out blanket statements or generic advice. She's speaking directly to the heart of what's going on. In relationships, her communication is clear and direct. She says what she means and means what she says. She doesn't play mind games. She's not dropping hints and expecting you to read between the lines. She's learned that guessing breeds confusion. So she'll tell you how she feels, what she needs, and where she stands. She's not afraid of difficult conversations because she knows that truth is the foundation of any strong connection. And if you can't handle honest dialogue, you're not ready for her. She's not defensive either. When someone brings something to her attention, she listens without ego. She doesn't have to be right all the time. She's open to correction if it's coming from a good place. That maturity in communication makes her a rare force. She can disagree without disrespect. She can hold space for opposing views without losing herself. She knows that speaking with purpose also means knowing when not to speak. Silence, when chosen wisely, is just as powerful as any word. She's not afraid of silence because she's comfortable with herself. Even in conflict, she maintains dignity. She doesn't resort to insults or low blows. She doesn't raise her voice just to win. She stays steady, grounded, even when emotions are high. Because for her, the goal isn't to dominate, it's to resolve. She's not in it for the last word, she's in it for the right word. That's what sets her apart. She's grown beyond emotional outbursts and careless speech. She's a woman who speaks with purpose, and purpose always leaves a lasting impression. A mature woman who protects her peace has learned, often the hard way, that peace is not something the world hands you. It's something you create and defend. She knows her peace is sacred. It's her power, her clarity, her rest, and her sanity. She's no longer available for chaos. She's not entertaining stress disguised as loyalty or dysfunction wrapped in love. She doesn't let people walk in and out of her life like it's a bus stop. Access to her is earned, and once she's learned what disturbs her peace, she's not afraid to cut it off at the source. She understands the energy around her, is just as important as the energy within her. So she's intentional about what she allows into her space. She's not going to keep answering calls from someone who only brings drama. She's not going to say yes when everything in her spirit is saying no. She listens to her intuition because her peace depends on it. She's learned that not every text deserves a reply, not every invitation deserves a yes, and not every conflict deserves her energy. That kind of wisdom doesn't come from reading books. It comes from surviving situations that robbed her of herself. Her peace is a result of choices. She chooses her environment, her circle, her habits with care. She doesn't stay in relationships that drain her just because of history. She doesn't hold on to friendships just because they've been around a long time. She evaluates everything through one lens. Does this support my peace or disturb it? If it drains her, confuses her, or stresses her out more than it brings her joy, she lets it go. Not out of malice, but out of self-respect. She no longer sacrifices her well-being to keep others comfortable. She's also mastered the art of the graceful exit. She doesn't need to announce her boundaries with fireworks. She doesn't need to curse anybody out to be done with them. She just quietly leaves what no longer serves her. She doesn't slam the door, but she does close it firmly. And once it's closed, she doesn't keep looking back. That's not cold, that's clarity. That's emotional maturity. She's not wasting time explaining herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She has rituals that protect her spirit. Whether it's her morning routine, her time alone, her prayer, her journaling, her walks in nature, she prioritizes the things that bring her back to center. She doesn't feel guilty for needing space. She doesn't apologize for needing rest. She doesn't shrink her needs for the sake of appearing strong. She's learned that peace doesn't mean avoiding problems. It means facing them with calm. It means choosing responses over reactions. It means breathing before speaking, observing before assuming, and detaching before exploding. She doesn't chase closure either. She's accepted that some people will never apologize, some situations will never make sense, and some endings won't come with a bow. But her peace doesn't depend on outside resolution. It's something she gives to herself. She finds her own healing. She creates her own closure. And she does it not for revenge or to prove a point, but so she can be free. She chooses peace because she knows chaos is too expensive. She's not afraid to be misunderstood. That's a big one. A mature woman who protects her peace knows that not everyone will get her. Some people will think she's cold, distant, or difficult, but she's okay with that. She's not here to be everyone's cup of tea. She's here to honor her truth. She doesn't explain herself to people who don't even see her. She lets her boundaries speak for her. She lets her peace be the proof of her growth. Even in the middle of life's storms, she's centered. She's not immune to stress or pain, but she no longer lets it define her. She doesn't allow temporary emotions to create permanent damage. She knows how to retreat without running away. She gives herself time to feel, but she doesn't live in chaos. She's not always in fight mode, not always proving something, not always defending herself. She's tired of the noise. She wants softness, stillness, and genuine joy. And most importantly, she protects her peace not just for herself, but for everyone connected to her. Because when she's calm, her home is calm. Her relationships are healthier. Her work is more focused. Her energy becomes a blessing to others. She's not trying to be perfect. She's trying to be peaceful. And that choice to protect her peace, no matter what, becomes her greatest strength. A mature woman who handles her business moves with quiet confidence. She doesn't wait for permission. She doesn't wait for rescue. And she doesn't wait for the perfect moment to start. She gets up, shows up, and gets it done. She understands that life doesn't hand you anything. You've got to work for it. She's been through enough to know that excuses don't pay bills and procrastination doesn't build dreams. She doesn't talk about what she's going to do for years without action. She sets goals, makes a plan, and executes. She's not loud about it, but the results speak for her. She's organized. She's on top of things. Her priorities are in order. Whether she's raising kids, running a business, working a job, or balancing all three, she makes it look effortless. Not because it's easy, but because she's consistent. She doesn't rely on motivation. She relies on discipline. When things get tough, she doesn't fold. She adjusts. She's adaptable. She knows how to pivot, how to regroup, how to keep going even when she's tired. She might cry in private, but she still shows up and performs. That kind of resilience doesn't come from convenience. It comes from commitment. She's financially responsible. She doesn't waste money trying to impress people who aren't even paying attention. She budgets, she saves, she invests, she plans. She knows where her money is going. She doesn't spend emotionally or live beyond her means just to keep up appearances. She's not afraid to say no, not because she can't afford it, but because she's thinking long term. She's not chasing short-lived thrills. She's building stability. She wants freedom, not just luxury. And freedom to her means options, independence, and peace of mind. She's not dependent on anyone to manage her life for her. She knows how to take care of herself. She handles her schedule, her home, her health, her responsibilities. She doesn't play the helpless role. If something needs fixing, she figures it out. If something needs learning, she learns it. She's solution-oriented. She's not wasting energy on blaming or complaining. She's focused on what she can do. She's not waiting for someone else to come and do it for her. She's her own backup plan. She's not looking for shortcuts either. She believes in putting in the work. She values the process just as much as the outcome. She's patient with growth. She knows that anything worth building takes time, effort, and sacrifice. She's not afraid of the grind. She wakes up early if she has to. She stays late if it's necessary. But she also knows how to rest. She doesn't glamorize burnout. She understands that productivity without balance leads to breakdown. So she makes space for recovery because rest is part of the hustle too. She carries herself with professionalism in every area of life. Whether she's in a boardroom or a living room, she brings respect, focus, and integrity. She's not cutting corners. She shows up prepared. She meets her deadlines and she keeps her word. People know they can count on her because she's proven to be dependable. She doesn't need to micromanage or control everything, but she keeps her standards high. She expects excellence from herself and inspires it in others. She's constantly growing. She doesn't settle for where she is. She's always learning, improving, elevating. She reads, she studies, she takes classes, she listens to people who know more. She's not intimidated by knowledge. She seeks it. She understands that the more she grows, the more she has to offer. She wants to be better, not just for herself, but for everyone who depends on her. She wants to leave a legacy, not just a lifestyle. She doesn't need applause for doing what needs to be done. She's not looking for gold stars or constant praise. She knows her worth, and she knows the value of her effort. She doesn't need to be noticed. She needs to be effective. She takes pride in her work, even the unseen parts. She's not looking for validation from outside. She's fueled by purpose from within. She holds herself accountable. If she messes up, she owns it. If she falls short, she corrects it. She doesn't point fingers or make excuses. She learns, she adjusts, and she keeps going. That kind of self-leadership is what makes her unstoppable. She doesn't rely on other people to tell her what to do. She sets her own standards and meets them. She's not perfect, but she's intentional, and that consistency adds up over time. A mature woman chooses love, not dependency. She understands the difference between needing someone and wanting someone. She's not looking for someone to complete her because she's already whole. She's not entering relationships out of loneliness, fear, or pressure. She's not searching for someone to fill a void or fix her life. She's already built herself from the ground up. She's not afraid to stand alone. And that's exactly why her love is so powerful, because it comes from choice, not desperation. She's done with the fantasy that love is supposed to rescue her. She knows better now. She's seen what happens when you love from a broken place. She's experienced what it feels like to give everything and lose yourself in the process. She's learned that love without self-respect turns into sacrifice, and she's not living that way anymore. She's not here to lose herself in someone else's potential. She's not signing up for half love or conditional care. She wants something real, and she's willing to wait or walk away until she finds it. She knows how to stand on her own 2 feet. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, she's grounded. She doesn't use relationships as a crutch or a ladder. She's not measuring her worth by someone else's attention or presence. She's not going to settle for someone who's only halfway and just so she doesn't have to be alone. She values her own company. She's at peace in her solitude. Her self-love is not just a concept, it's a practice. It shows in how she moves, how she speaks to herself, how she chooses her partners. She doesn't need someone to validate her existence. Compliments are nice, affection is appreciated, but she doesn't rely on it to feel beautiful or worthy. She already knows who she is. She's already affirmed herself in private. So when love comes, it's just an addition, not her foundation. She's not living for someone else's attention because she's already seen how fleeting that can be. She wants a love that's steady, a love that's built on mutual respect and alignment, not attachment and fear. She's not looking for control. She's not trying to dominate or be dominated. She wants a partnership, not a power struggle. She's not afraid of healthy interdependence, but she's allergic to emotional codependency. She doesn't confuse control with security. She doesn't measure love by how often someone checks in or gets jealous. She measures it by emotional safety, trust, and how well you both grow together. She knows that real love doesn't suffocate. It supports. It expands. It gives room to breathe and space to be. She's emotionally intelligent. She communicates her needs without manipulation or games. She doesn't play hard to get, and she doesn't chase. She lets things flow naturally. If the energy is right, she invests. If it's off, she steps back. She doesn't force connections or try to make something work that clearly isn't. She trusts the vibe. She pays attention to how she feels around someone, not just what they say. She listens to actions more than words. And when she sees a red flag, she doesn't paint it white. She honors it. She's also able to give love without losing her identity. She can be nurturing, supportive, romantic, all of that. But she doesn't disappear in the relationship. Her goals still matter. Her boundaries still stand. Her dreams don't get shelved just because someone new entered the picture. She knows how to pour into her partner without emptying herself. She brings love to the table, not just because she has it to give, but because she wants to. It's intentional, not transactional. She doesn't need someone to carry her emotionally. She's done her healing. She's faced her past. She's worked through her triggers. She's not perfect, but she's aware. She knows her patterns. She takes responsibility for her emotions. She's not projecting pain or blaming her partner for things they didn't create. She's not looking for someone to fix her because she's done that work already. What she wants now is someone who can meet her at her level, not rescue her, but walk beside her. And because she's chosen love, not dependency, her relationships feel different. They feel calm, mature, balanced. There's no panic, no chaos, no obsession, just clarity, respect, and presence. She's not afraid to love deeply, but she's no longer afraid to walk away either. Her love is free, not frantic. It's rooted, not rushed. She understands that love should feel like home, not like survival. So she doesn't chase love that drains her. She waits for the kind that mirrors the love she already gives herself. A mature woman who owns her sensuality doesn't need to be told she's beautiful to believe it. She's not seeking attention. She commands it just by being present. Her confidence doesn't come from how much skin she shows, how tight her clothes are, or how many heads she turns. It comes from the way she carries herself, the way she walks into a room like she belongs there, the way her presence speaks before she even says a word. She's not trying to prove she's sexy. She knows she is, and it radiates from within. She's comfortable in her body, not because it's perfect, but because it's hers. She's made peace with every curve, every line, every stretch mark, every scar. She's not ashamed of growing older, of softening in some places, of evolving in others. She honors her body not because it fits a standard, but because it carries her strength. She takes care of herself not to impress others, but because she respects herself. She moves with grace because she knows what it took to love the skin she's in. Her sensuality isn't for sale, and it's not on display for validation. It's sacred. It's intentional. It's hers. She doesn't use it to manipulate, and she doesn't allow it to be misused. She knows how to own her allure without reducing herself to it. She's not afraid of her power, but she's not reckless with it either. She knows that being sexy is not about being provocative. It's about being present, being connected to your own energy, your own desires, your own rhythm. She knows what she likes. She's explored her likes, her dislikes, her passions, her pleasures. She's not shy about intimacy, but she's selective with it. She doesn't give her body to people who can't handle her spirit. She's not entertaining surface-level connections that go nowhere. She's not moved by sweet talk and flattery. She's moved by depth, by authenticity, by someone who sees her beyond the physical. Her sensuality is not a show. It's an extension of her wholeness. She's emotionally and physically in sync. She doesn't separate her feelings from her body. She doesn't fake chemistry just to fill a void. She doesn't say yes when her soul says no. She listens to her inner voice. She respects her own boundaries. She understands that true intimacy starts with trust and that her body is not a bargaining chip. It's a temple. She only shares it with someone who honors it the way she does. She dresses for herself. Whether she's in heels or flats, silk or sweats, she wears what makes her feel good. She doesn't follow trends just to keep up. She knows her style. She knows what highlights her best features. She doesn't apologize for looking good, and she doesn't dull herself to make others comfortable. She doesn't confuse modesty with insecurity or sensuality with attention-seeking. She's found a balance between elegance and edge, softness and strength, boldness and peace. She flirts with life. She's playful, joyful, alive. She laughs loud, dances freely, lives fully. Her sensuality isn't limited to the bedroom. It shows up in how she eats, how she moves, how she enjoys the little things. She savors her coffee, takes long baths, listens to music that moves her. She takes her time. She's not in a rush to please anyone but herself. She's learned how to indulge without guilt, how to experience pleasure without shame. She's magnetic because she's real. There's no performance, no pretending. She's not playing a role to get attention. She's not shrinking to avoid it either. She embraces her femininity, her softness, her depth. She's not hard just because life has been hard. She's found the courage to be open, to be tender, to be seen. That openness is what draws people in. That raw, effortless authenticity is what makes her unforgettable. She doesn't need external affirmation to feel desired. Her desirability comes from her confidence, her self-awareness, her emotional maturity. She knows that true beauty isn't loud, it's consistent. It's how she shows up for herself day after day. It's how she speaks kindly to herself, how she forgives herself, how she honors her needs without guilt. That kind of self-love shines brighter than any outfit, any makeup, any compliment ever could. She's not threatened by other women. She celebrates beauty wherever she sees it because she knows another woman's shine doesn't dim her own. She doesn't compete. She connects. She's too secure in her own skin to compare. She compliments without envy. She lifts without fear. Her sensuality isn't rooted in scarcity. It's rooted in abundance. There's room for every woman to glow in her own way, and she knows that deeply. A mature woman knows how to walk away gracefully. She's not in the business of begging for love, proving her worth, or staying where she's no longer valued. She's not holding on to relationships just because of time invested or promises once made. She's done waiting on potential. She doesn't stay in places that dishonor her just to avoid being alone. She understands that walking away doesn't make her cold. It makes her wise. She's not afraid to outgrow people, habits, or environments that no longer align with who she is becoming. She's learned the difference between loyalty and self-betrayal. She used to stay too long, hold on too tight, and give too much. But she's grown. She knows now that some doors have to close for her peace to open. She doesn't need drama or dysfunction to feel connected. If the energy shifts and the respect fades, she pays attention. If her spirit feels heavy every time she engages, she doesn't ignore the signs. She's not afraid to choose herself, even if it means disappointing others. She understands that her well-being is not up for negotiation. She leaves without bitterness. She doesn't need to destroy someone on her way out. She doesn't seek revenge or validation. She doesn't engage in unnecessary back and forth. Her silence speaks what words no longer can. She's mastered the art of letting go with dignity. When she walks away, she doesn't slam the door, but she locks it behind her. And she doesn't stand there waiting to be chased. She's walking toward peace, not running from pain. She's choosing growth, not staying for the history. She trusts herself enough to know when something is no longer serving her. She doesn't second-guess her intuition. She doesn't beg for clarity from people who keep her confused. She doesn't wait for someone else to change in order for her to be okay. She's no longer in love with the idea of fixing anyone. She's not emotionally invested in broken cycles. She's not repeating the same lesson over and over just to prove she's loyal. She's grown past the need to struggle for love. She understands that walking away doesn't always mean someone did something wrong. It just means they're no longer right for her. She can love someone and still let them go. She can care deeply and still choose distance. She's learned that peace sometimes comes with letting go of what you wanted and making room for what you need. She's stopped clinging to what was and started creating space for what could be. That takes courage, and she carries it well. She no longer seeks closure from people who couldn't give her clarity while they had her. She creates her own closure. She writes her own ending. She doesn't replay the past on a loop or sit in what ifs. She reflects, learns, forgives, and releases. She understands that not every ending is meant to feel good. Some are meant to teach. Some are meant to redirect. And she doesn't resist that anymore. She trusts that what leaves her life is making space for something better. She doesn't wait for permission to leave what hurts her. She doesn't ask people to treat her right more than once. She doesn't explain her boundaries over and over. If she says it once and it's ignored, she acts. She's no longer available for emotional negotiations with people who think her standards are too high. She's not rude about it. She's just clear, and clarity is her new peace. She's not confusing kindness with tolerating disrespect. She's not sacrificing her worth for the sake of not being alone. She walks away with her head high because she knows what she brings to the table. She knows she's not hard to love. She just requires real love. She's not looking for perfect, but she won't settle for less than effort, consistency, and honesty. If someone can't meet her there, she doesn't lower herself to stay. She rises and moves on. She's not bitter. She's better. Not because she never hurt, but because she healed. Not because she never cared, but because she learned how to care for herself more. She knows her peace is more important than keeping people around who disturb it. She's protective of her energy. She doesn't entertain what drains her. She doesn't revisit what broke her. She doesn't return to what made her question her worth. She moves forward, even if her voice shakes, even if her heart is heavy, because she understands that walking away is an act of self-respect. It's not weakness, it's strength. The kind that's quiet, firm, and undeniable. The kind that doesn't need to be explained to anyone who truly understands what growth looks like.